Hi there. Hopefully this talk will also be a mixture of tears and making you want to kiss somebody. So we'll keep expectations low. It may just be tears. No promises. So as she said, I am Del Harvey. I am the VP of Trust and Safety at Twitter, which sounds either vaguely Orwellian or at least gently reassuring. And my job is to ensure user trust, protect user rights, and keep users safe, both from each other and at times from themselves. And I do all of that with a healthy dose of visualizing catastrophe. I'm also the executive sponsor of Twitter Open, which is Twitter's... It's like you guys know what it is already. It's Twitter's ERG, Employee Resource Group, for the LGBTQA tweeps, as we like to call them, at Twitter. Some of us like to call them tweeps, not maybe everyone. All of that is to say, I think it's safe to say I fall relatively squarely into the category of lesbians who tech. So, well, perhaps lesbian who techs in the singular form, but I am delighted to be here today to talk to you about cybersecurity. So, what is cybersecurity anyway? Well, Google says it's this. There you go, saved you like 30 seconds. And the thing is there's actually a lot of different things that cybersecurity can refer to. It can be privacy, it can be confidentiality, it can be corporate security or data security, or whether or not your social media account has been hacked by somebody. It can refer to all of those things. And because it can refer to all of those things, as framed by this extremely bastardized quote from Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart's concurrence in Jacob Ellis versus Ohio, which perhaps for some of you who are big Supreme Court fans, you might recognize there's like two. You might recognize the opinion. Those of you who do not, it is where the famous colloquialism, "I know it when I see it," came from. Fun fact, that's all you'll learn in this entire talk, but there you go. Got it in the first 2.5 minutes. So, great. Cybersecurity, all of these things more. I'm going to tell you my absolute top 5, you must do these things for cybersecurity. And here's the thing, we've been telling you to do these things for like the past 10 years. Some of you still aren't doing them. Please stop that, please do them. We're telling you them for a reason. And then we're going to talk about something else that ties really closely to cybersecurity. It's going to be thrilling. So, without further ado, my top 5 greatest cybersecurity hits. Please, I don't care if you use LastPassword, I don't care if you use 1Password, I don't care if you use LastPass or some other version, but use a password manager. It's going to keep you from typing your password into phishing sites. It's going to make it so that you don't use the same password on multiple sites, because none of you would do that, right? You use a different password for every single site, right? I'll assume that the laughter is in just violent agreement with that concept. Good. Good. Keep your system software updated. Have an antivirus and a malware scanner, even if you're on a Mac. More and more people are on Macs, which means they're better and better targets, which means please use them. It's not that hard, guys. There's free ones. Do it. Update your parents so that they're doing it too, because that's what I do every time I go home, is just try to keep them up to date. 2-factor authentication, if a site offers it, use it, please. Password protect all your electronic devices, your phone, your laptop. Change the default password on your router from the login of admin. Maybe protect that home network. You can use a really funny title. I have a home network that's The Land Before Time and a guest network that's Tell My Wife I Love Her. Come on, this is a golden opportunity for puns. Take advantage of it. I'll also give you La Femme Netkita. Think about it. Yeah, free one. Now, one note, if you are going to a protest or something like that where you think you might be arrested or you're just concerned you might be arrested, fun tip, turn off Touch ID or key or thumbprint recognition to unlock your electronic device. There are currently cases going on about whether or not you can be forced to unlock your electronic devices using your thumbprint. If it is just password protected, There is no question you cannot be forced to unlock it the same way. So just shut it off if you're planning on getting arrested tonight. Just saying, like, tips to live by. So now that that's all said, you guys are going to do all 5 of these religiously. Thank you. I feel like I've made the world a better place now. Let's talk about a less discussed aspect of cybersecurity. I want to talk about privacy through obscurity instead. This is also my cat, so FYI. I didn't know if it was pandering to put up a picture of my cat, but I went with it. So this guy, Woodrow Hartzog, he's an assistant professor of law at Stanford, has written a lot about the concept of obscurity by design. He's talked about obscurity by design within websites and within code and that sort of thing. And obscurity by design is actually also something that can apply to your social media and your online presence. So you can regain a lot of your social media privacy through obscurity. Now, 20 years ago, this wasn't much of an issue because we weren't yet in the age of big data, right? But now we are, right? Imagine me like moonwalking or something as I talk about this, but I'm in heels, so no. We could live our lives pretty publicly and still assume that we had a default to privacy because it wasn't super easy or straightforward to take 100 or 1,000 discrete, and that's ETE, not EET, pieces of information and assemble them into a larger picture of who somebody is or what they're doing. Well, obscurity has never been an absolute guarantee of safety. If somebody is determined enough, they're going to be able to piece together an overview of information. But the amount of effort involved in doing so can serve to dissuade all but the most determined. Now, however, given the sheer amount of information that is available online, it's trivial for even a hobbyist to put together pieces of information and know more about you than you might be totally comfortable with them knowing. I say hobbyist because sometimes I do this for fun. So, what can you do about that? Hartzog talks about 4 main factors of obscurity. He says searchability, unprotected access, identification, and clarity. I roughly agree with them, but I tweak the second and fourth to access controls and context and clarity. I only get 10 minutes, so you're getting the lightning version of all of this. I could probably talk faster, but you'll get what you get. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each of these. The idea is that the more that you gain control over one of these areas, the more your obscurity and privacy improves. And the whole point of this is not to tell you, you must be completely private. No one must have any idea what's going on. It's to give you the information that you might need in order to take control and to make your own decisions as to how visible you are and what your online footprint is. Searchability is all about how accessible your social media accounts are. How easy is it to find them? How easy is it to find the content that you produce? There's lots of ways to reduce that, both online and offline. Look at sites like FamilyTreeNow.com or Spokeo and find out just how much information is about you, including where you live, who your relatives are, what the last 5 addresses you've lived at are. That's for free. People can find that out really easily. You can opt out, but you have to know to go do it. So here's your note. Maybe go do that. Access controls are really closely tied to searchability. They're about how easy it is for people to, once they've found you, see or scrape or index the information. If you're locking down who can see certain pieces of information, who can see your posts, who can see your friend list, who can tag you in pictures, all of that are forms of access controls that you have and that you can take steps to reduce your visibility around. Identification, unsurprisingly, it's all about any information that's directly tied to you, your work email, your work phone number, your personal phone number. Don't use your work email on a personal social media account if you don't want people to be able to tie it back to you. These are things that are pretty straightforward, but again, keep in mind, even something like your phone number, and then people who have your phone number in their contacts list can be used to identify and surface your social media accounts to other people without you even thinking that they would know that it was yours. Context and clarity are all about how easy it is for somebody else to understand what they're seeing about you. Some information might always be public, like your profile picture, but it doesn't have to be of your face. Similarly, even when disclosing or sharing information, you can do it in ways that are only understandable to a set group of people. What Dana Boyd, a principal researcher at Microsoft, describes as the art of social steganography, which is kind of a cool name. or hiding information in plain sight by leveraging shared knowledge and cues embedded in particular social contexts. You can see why she went with social steganography instead of the second one. All of that said, very quickly, thank you for listening. My hope is that this very, very quick talk has given you at least a little bit more information than you had before, or a little more context to think about that information in, and that you feel a little more empowered to take control of these areas. If you're interested in learning more about what I do or how I do it, or finding out more about sites where you can go reduce your online footprint, please feel free to come by the Twitter booth at the Recruiting Pavilion. And I leave you with the view: visualize catastrophe. It's like visualizing peace, but more preventative. Thank you.